There are many reasons to plant trees and shrubs around the home, but one that we don't immediately think of is the benefit on energy conservation. Well-placed trees and shrubs can save both heating and cooling costs. Some factors to consider when landscaping for energy conservation include the orientation of the house, the angle of the sun at different times of the year, as well as the direction of prevailing winter and summer winds. Shade can significantly reduce the amount of heat flow into the home. Studies suggest by as much as 2/3. So a well-placed tree can really do a great deal to reduce the heat load. Our studio garden offices provide us a good example to look at how trees can actually help with energy savings. This is a south-facing wall that is struck with full sun all day, and you really notice it as the temperatures begin to climb inside. A very well-placed tree could provide shade throughout much of the day and significantly reduce the heat load. However, you also want to consider our desire in the winter. In the winter, those sun rays are certainly wanted, and so we need to think carefully about the types of trees we use for this situation. The angle of the sun is going to be quite different in the summer as it is in the winter. The summer, the sun is very high, and so we want to look for a tree that has a higher canopy where the branches are up higher, that will produce shade during the summer months. We also, in the winter time, the sun angle is much lower, and so we want to look for a tree where the lower part is more open. A good tree example would be a Kentucky coffee tree, where the branches are produced up higher, and it also has a rather open branch system, which is going to allow a lot more light to penetrate in the winter time. What you want to avoid are trees with a pyramidal shape, such as the pin oak and certain evergreens, which are going to block that sun. The best place to plan for shade is going to be on the south and southwest areas of the home. One final consideration is when the leaves fall off the tree. Ideally, you want to look for a species that drops its leaves between October 15th and November 15th. Well, let's go around the other side and look at the effects of winter wind. Homes lose much more heat on a cold, windy day than on a cold, calm day. And so sheltering your home from winter winds with a windbreak is a great way to reduce heat loss. When planning a windbreak, you want to first identify the direction of the prevailing winter winds, which in most locations in Oklahoma is going to be from the north and northwest. So this is where we want to plant our windbreak. It's important to consider that the wind speed actually picks up at the edge of that windbreak. So you want to make sure that it extends the area of concern, directing the winds past your home. Evergreens are the ideal tree type for a windbreak because they're full and dense year-round. When you're planting a windbreak, you want to locate it at a distance from the house that's equal to 2 to 5 times the mature height of that windbreak species. Ideally, a windbreak is most effective if there's 2 to 5 rows of trees, but in smaller landscapes this just isn't practical, but even a single or a double layer will provide a good insulation. If you are very limited on space, you can try some of the narrower, more upright forms of juniper, such as Taylor's or Skyrocket. Vines are also good for the space-limited landscape. On the south and west side of the house, you can use deciduous vines to provide some extra shade in the summer. And on the north and northwest sides, you can use evergreen vines planted on arbors, fences, or trellises to help protect against those winter winds. Foundation plantings can also be used for energy savings. Foundation plantings help to protect the home against winter winds. They reduce the airflow around the base of the house. And if you pull that planting out a little bit away from the home, you can leave a dead airspace between it and the building, and that air helps to provide some extra insulation. Again, evergreens are going to be the most insulating in your foundation plantings. Well, when you're planning your landscape design, it's certainly worth it to consider adding some trees and shrubs to provide some of this extra insulation, protect against those chilling northwest winds, and provide some shade in the summertime. For more information, you can look at OSU Fact Sheet HLA 6417, Landscaping for Energy Conservation.